Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time for Coffee of the Mods. I'm joined by Alec Naylor of Naylor Skates. I'm Scott Molchan with the Million Dollar Landscaper. And Coffee of the Mods is basically an area where you guys can reach out to us, talk to us, ask us any questions that you have about landscaping. We also kind of talk about things that happen in the Landscape Business Owners Facebook group. So if we find any topics that were kind of interesting that were thought were a good topic to discuss, we'll also discuss that here. Welcome, Alec. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Playing with some
Good.
snow here this past weekend, so it's always good.
There you go. We're still high and dry here in Utah. Nothing
Yeah,
nothing coming our way yet. So a lot of rain,
yeah, that
a
stinks. Yeah, well, it's
little
because
bit, but it happens, man.
yeah, well, it's because you bought a plow. That's why.
You're right. That's exactly what it is, man.
So.
Decided to drop 10 grand into snow removal equipment, and
Yeah,
it's not going to snow. So, but the good thing is yeah, still paying my bills. Everything's still good. So,
there you go. That's all that matters.
yeah,
No, so
everybody's happy.
if anybody has any questions about anything, please put them in the chat. Let us know you're here. And again, apparently it's not letting me know who's who, so I do apologize on that. Um, I know, just so you know, the software I'm using had some issues with Facebook, so they're still working out the kinks with it. So Facebook changed rules or something. I don't know exactly,
Uh-oh.
but so it just says Facebook user, so so I can't
Yeah,
put anybody's
yeah.
name on
Give
it.
us a name. Give us
So
a name. So,
no, Alec, you
yeah.
have anything you want to talk about or get started with?
Yeah, I do actually. So, last week I made a couple of comments about websites and Facebook ads. I believe my comment was, unless you're revenuing million and a half a year, um, websites, paying somebody to build your website sounds ludicrous to me. And then I also made a comment about Facebook ads. So just to address those real quick, I use Wix for my website. It's not perfect. I still have some pictures I need to add and things like that. But out of all the research I've done, any of the doubts that you have about SEO using Wix, okay, I'll die on this hill. There's no issues with it. Um, you can spend some time as a business owner learning SEO and building a website and doing these things, and it's very affordable. You're maybe $100 into it, and that gets you up and going, and then $30 to $40 per month. Okay, so compared to paying somebody $5,000, $10,000 to build your website, which there's nothing wrong with. Okay? If you want to spend your money that way, feel free to spend your money that way. Okay, but I want to comment too. I don't get paid to be here. I don't get paid to push anything. I'm not affiliate marketing anything here. And I know I've been in the position before with my business where somebody comes at me and says, "Oh, give me $7,000 and I'll build you a website." Okay, because I had it happen several times. I didn't have it. I didn't have it at the time. So, I did what I had to. I built my own website. And then, after I got it up and going, I started focusing more on my systems and procedures, knowing my numbers and things like that, which I think are, much more important than paying somebody to build you a website. But, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about it. So, if you can afford it, pay for it, have it done. But there's other options. And don't let anybody talk you out of it if you want to do it. They work well. And then for the Facebook ads, if I was selling reoccurring services, Scott, I'd be on Facebook ads in a heartbeat, 1,000%. Mowing lawns, doing a lot of mulch, weeding a lot of flower beds, other services like that. I think for me personally, Facebook ads pay off. They would pay off, because if somebody's scrolling through Facebook and needs their lawn mowed or weeds pulled, it's something, a low ticket item that's reoccurring that they can take advantage of, right? But my current clientele, my ideal client, and the things that I like to sell people, as far as $20 to $30 to $40,000 landscape jobs, I just don't. Logically, to me, the Facebook ads don't make sense. I think I'd rather put that money into Google ads, or better yet, branding. Okay, I really think if you have an extra $1,000 laying around, getting a truck wrap is the bang for the buck. Because when you're at your current client's houses doing that $20,000 to $30,000 job, okay, your truck is constantly going to be parked out in front of there. And that those are my thoughts on it. But I kind of want to hear what you think, Scott.
No, I feel a website is very important. At least have something up there, and at least get started with something. Even if it's like using Google My Business, you can build a free website on there to get started. If you're starting from zero, from scratch, you don't have the funds to start doing it. Spend whatever, a few $100s even having somebody build one. At least start with Wix or Google My Business. Get started with something.
Yeah.
Definitely, as you grow, I would recommend, kind of stepping up and having somebody take care of your website that can improve your SEO, which can help you get results.
Yeah.
But if you're starting off, Wix is fine. All those are good just to get started. You need to have some kind of website presence, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
definitely with using the Facebook ads, or Facebook ads versus Google ads. I actually just did a podcast interview with a company called Evergrow Marketing. We just did it here yesterday, and it'll be coming out here next week. And they deal with just Google ads. They do a website too, but they don't deal with really Facebook ads. They'll do a little bit here and there, but they said your money's better off spent with Google ads, just because if a person's looking for a landscaper, they're going to go to Google and type landscaper near me or landscapers by me or whatever. They're going to be searching for that. When they're on Facebook, they're not really searching for landscaping. They may be scrolling through and come across something that you posted, but they're not really searching too much initially. They may go to Google, find who they're looking for, and then go to Facebook and then scroll through the pictures you have. But so they're saying you're better off spending your money using Google ads versus Facebook ads. I'm
Yeah.
by no means a Google expert by any means. I'm just going by what they said, and it makes sense to me, when they start describing it. So definitely check out that
Yeah.
podcast that's coming out here next week on that.
I can't wait. I can't wait to listen to it. So,
So,
and then as far as even with your position in the $1 Million Landscaper, what are your thoughts on business owners learning even just the basics of SEO? Before passing these things off onto somebody, to do, basics of anything really. Because if you're going to be passing something off, I have a really, strong feeling that you need to know at least how to gauge, how to do things,
yeah,
right? To be able to track progress.
so here's the kind of the problem with like maybe there's something else I don't know, but as far as I know with Google My Business, you can only really create kind of like one or two pages with it. You can't have like service specific pages. And everything I've heard and read over the years is that you want to have a page for like you live in Ogden, so Ogden, Utah Landscaping Company, and and then whatever towns or whatever around you, you want to have those like specific pages around you. So like where I live, I have like Crown Point, Indiana Landscaping, Hobart Landscaping. All the cities and towns around me, I kind of name them off having specific pages. So where have something like Wix, you can kind of create those pages much easier than you can with like Google My Business. It's still
Yeah.
important to be on Google My Business,
Yeah.
it's important to start learning some of the key terms and putting some things out on your website. That's why in our academy we share those blog posts, because those blog
Mm-hmm.
posts have kind of keywords in there that you can put out there and just people start learning and reading it. And eventually those things catch on, and the Google's bots kind of pick up those things and start, learning those key terms and recognizing your site. So it's going to help push up the SEO on your site. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of things that are out there on it. You can go down a whole rabbit hole of just learning SEO. But
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. Get started doing something and just have some kind of web presence. And then once you start growing, then look to start heading it off to somebody else at some point, because you could,
Yeah.
like I said, you could start spending your time and energy going down this huge rabbit hole, and you're trying to learn everything you can on it. To me, I'm finding this out. The older I get, I'd rather spend my time going out doing sales or creating systems and procedures than spending my time building a website. I can leave that to a professional that's going to have it done much better,
Yeah.
much easier. So
Yeah.
um, I mean, yeah, and like I'm sure you're kind of like me. I like to do a lot of things myself. I like to do everything I can, and just so I learn it, and I get all that. But the older I get, it's easier just to kind of hand things off and just let somebody else do it. That's a profession.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we do the same thing in the landscape industry. You're like, that guy's, the homeowner's going to go build themselves a wall and it's going to fall down. Well, it's still a wall. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with our website. So it's
Yeah.
it's just a different mindset, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I guess I really want to point out too is even my process through Wix. Um, I mean everybody's more than welcome to research it, but they walked me through SEO. I also did research on finding my keywords for my area, um, and making sure I had all my pages built out to include certain search terms, in which I'm actually going to be changing some of those things here soon. I'm going to be working on it a little bit more. Um, renaming all your images as you upload them to the website, and certain things like that. I also have Google My Business, which is, I think, extremely important. Social media pages and things like that, which I think all of that really adds into the algorithm of searching on Google, which incorporated with the Google ads, I notice a huge difference, at least where I'm at, with the money I spent on Google ads. So, and kind of like I mentioned with at least learning the basics, the people I'm talking to are, if somebody's in this for a couple of years and they're kind of ready to make that first jump, I really believe in the whole stages of a landscaping business that most people go through of, solo operator, learning their numbers, hiring their first employees, things like that, just kind of that daunting task of saying, let's just pay this person for a website. Let's pay this person to do all my Facebook posts and Instagram posts and things like that. I personally would rather see that money spent on knowing your numbers, creating systems and procedures, treating your team well to get constant workflow. And also too, I think a lot of people are forgetting with marketing is word of mouth obviously can't carry you past a certain point, but up to a certain point, having a good relationship with your suppliers, having a good relationship with your old clients and things like that are extremely important. So but yeah, if you want to pay for a website, go for it. Pay for somebody to build your website. I suppose go for it, but
Yeah. And just a reminder to everybody, if anybody has any questions, feel free to post them in here. There's one topic I saw come up here. Actually, I'm trying to remember when it was. I can't find it again. It was somebody talking about being nervous about like the first or the snowfall that's supposed to be coming up here in their area. And I think this kind of ties back into where you have, like a system that you go through and how everything's prepared. You're ready to go. Your team knows what's going on. And yeah, I always get there's always going to be some kind of stress along the way and anxiety along the way because you never know what's going to happen. Trucks can break down, somebody get an accident. There's all these factors that go in there. But as far as like if you're being prepared, having a system in place where you go through and start the trucks the day before or start the trucks the day of, whatever it is, you're checking the oil, all the fluids, plows, test them, make sure everything works, and you can be prepared. That makes a huge difference. And then the day of the event, where you have a procedure in place where they have to be, your team has to be there within whatever. Like ours is an hour. You have to be in the shop within an hour of when we call you. And yes, it's kind of crazy, but you never know. If we know it's going to be something, we can tell them the night before. Hey, you're going to be here at 2:00 in the morning. We'll do that obviously, but if it's sometimes it's kind of out of the blue, you have an hour to get here. That's just what our our policy was. But just being prepared, have some kind of a checklist that you go through will definitely ease some of that anxiety. So if that can definitely help, I'd recommend doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to make a simple checklist like that. So
Yeah. No, that's what we do. We have the checklist. My team knows, with the single truck that we have for snow removal, my team knows that, with snow removal with snow coming in the forecast, okay, we need this many bags of salt on the truck. We need this many bags of ice melt. We need to make sure that the snow blowers are all filled up. The salter's put on. The plow is working. The truck is filled with fuel. And it's just a simple checklist that you build that you pass on to the team, and they'll surprise you. They'll get it done. So, after the storm, I think is just as important. We do have a checklist after the storm that we go through. We wash the truck, we wash the salter, we grease everything. We clean out the bed of the truck with all the salt and everything, and make sure it's all ready to go to be restacked for the next storm. And it's saved us countless headaches, because when you're going through and doing that post-storm checklist too, you can check for certain things that may be broken. Okay, maybe you have a screw in the tire, or you have a bushing gone, or something of the sort, torn wire, something like that. Make sure test everything and get it all ready to go. As far as the nervousness of something going down or not working, I think it's always going to be there. I mean, especially if you're just starting out and you only have maybe a couple of trucks, and depending on your schedule, if you're stacking up 10 to 15 accounts per truck, that's you got to make sure you're very careful with the square footage you're allowing each truck to be able to do, and adjust your pricing accordingly, so that you can make sure that you're collecting enough revenue with 7 to 8 accounts, whatever it is, whatever you're used to, but to cover all your overhead for snow removal. So we have under 10 accounts that we maintain, but all of our pricing is spot on, so that 10 accounts covers everything and makes us a really nice profit per storm. We know that we can go out at 2:00 in the morning and have everything completed by 7 or 8 a.m. It's kind of where we wanted to stay, just so that way we're not pushing the boundaries on making sure we can take care of people. And we're not beating up equipment or things like that. We're making sure we're getting the profit we need to take care of everything.
No, that's good. And that, I think, making sure you're on the snow plowing aspect, make sure your crew has everything they need to know. Like we have certain dialysis that open up at 4 a.m. So make sure it's on their sheets, or however they do it online, or however they know. But that place has to be finished by 4 a.m. or whatever it is, 3 a.m., whatever it is, because that's when they open up. You got people walking in there, that are in wheelchairs. You have people walking in that are elderly. So, it has to be taken, salted, and everything has to be done. Just if the crews know about it, they're going to take care of it. As long as you set those procedures up, there should be no reason they can't roll with it and make it happen. So just be prepared. That's the only thing I could say.
Yeah. No, checklist. Make sure you're being profitable.
Yeah.
When you're out doing it. I mean, if you're out there charging $40 a push and you have 20 accounts, and you're not going to have the profits to fix anything. I think that's what kind of makes me feel so comfortable, is because we're charging so much, and people are paying it. But if I get a flat tire, we could just go fix it. It's not going to ruin the day, right? Yep. It's the same thing with the landscaping side. So, if something happens, something goes wrong, if I need to bring in another guy to help out, or if I need to go buy a new snow blower because one breaks, it's all taken care of, ready to go.
Yeah. Is there anything you saw that this happened this week in the Facebook group?
No, I'm seeing a lot. I think it's just a January thing. I think a lot of people are talking about employees, hiring employees right now, which we talked about last time, which you guys also had a great podcast on last week. A lot of pricing stuff I'm thinking is coming up, which we kind of talked about last week as well too. knowing your numbers, overhead, things like that. I guess I might say about all those things is, it's not going to be perfect the first go around, just like everything. You're going to forget something in your overhead. You're going to forget something on your labor burden. While all of us are really good at calculating up materials, there's a bunch of other stuff too that just stacks up and we forget something. So, if you do get into that position and, you're fighting with trying to find your overhead or find your know your numbers or anything like that, I'd highly suggest just do it and just get started on it and make a list and have it be an ongoing list next to your computer where, something pops up and you remember it. Because I do it all the time, constantly. There's something else that goes into it. You're able to go in and add that into your calculations. So, and the first time that you really go through and do your overhead, especially by hand, just writing everything out. I think the first time I did it, I spent maybe 4 hours just figuring it out. And after that 3 or 4 hours, I was appalled. I was absolutely flabbergasted. I was so pissed off because I realized for the last so many years I was losing so much money, man. I'm just like, holy shit. I'm like, no wonder it comes, December and I don't have any money. Yeah. No wonder something breaks and I'm sitting there freaking out trying to figure out how I'm going to fix it. But, start somewhere. Yeah. That's what I got to tell people on that one.
That's what we say all the time. Just do it ugly. Just get it started and make it happen. And you can always.
Yes.
So.
Yes, do it ugly. I love it.
But,
yeah.
No, I kind of want to talk a little bit about marketing. Just kind of want to hear your thoughts on, what you're doing this year to market. And we've kind of talked about the website stuff, but other than that, you mentioned a little bit of Facebook ads and Google ads. But is there anything else you are looking at doing to kind of promote your business?
So Google ads is the only one. Okay. I don't do Facebook ads. So the thing that you guys always pushed in the academy too is finding your client, right? And I found it. I know my client, and my client makes over $75,000, over $80,000 a year, and my clients are not scrolling through Facebook. They're not there. There's an old thing of, you're not going to sell to your friends, right? Like your peers are not your customers. Yep. And it's 100%, it's 100% true. So no Facebook ads this year. Our game plan is to hit it hard on social media with all my employees. I have $180,000 right now in design jobs that I'm doing. Awesome. Designs that I've been paid for, and about 150 of that was through Instagram, just from people following us and seeing our stories, and they finally built a house, and then they're ready to do their landscaping. So we're going to hit social media hard. I'm going to be doing YouTube this year. I'm getting the GoPros all set up for. I'm going to be doing a lot of time lapses on the jobs to be able to post everywhere.
Nice.
I'm going to be doing a lot more with my suppliers, with T-shirts and hats and giveaways, lunches for them. We're doing a lot more this year with branding. So I think branding and marketing are kind of different. Yeah. I think branding is super important. That's kind of what we're leaning on with social media, as well as our Mini X right now. I peeled off all the John Deere stickers, and I have ordered all of our Nailerscapes stickers to go on there.
Sweet.
The trailer, I'm going to get the trailer wrapped. I'm going to get more vinyl for the dump trailer, and everything like that. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on right now, especially with such a strong start with all of our work that's coming in through designs.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty comfortable like that. And I think it kind of gets to a point too where you get to that point in your business where you do have that work still coming in during the winter of getting those things, and so I'm able to concentrate on some other things like branding, get it done.
Now, just
Um,
so everybody else knows, you mainly do residential work, right? You don't do any commercial or very little commercial.
no, no commercial. I don't. I have really strict guidelines on how I get paid. Um, I'm collecting nearly 60% up front for my residential stuff, and that's kind of unheard of with the commercial quotes that I've done.
Yeah.
Commercial guys, they want us to come out and just do it, which, I mean, there's a lot of guys out here that have a lot of success with it. So, no, we're strictly residential.
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of want to make sure everybody knows. I know I've been seeing a lot of people post on like not just this past week, but in the past, how to reach out to commercial accounts and everything. To me, it's just getting out there and networking and reaching out to them, and even just going up to like if it's a strip mall, go up to inside that strip mall and find out who manages the property. Ask the people that work there; they'll tell you who the management company is, and reach out to them and network. Get on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. You can start doing those. You can buy lists, but just mainly the networking and joining different groups in your area are a huge thing. I know we've talked about this before in like live Q&As we've had, but uh, uh, getting out there and talking to people obviously is the biggest thing in networking. But like some companies require their salespeople to like go to so many meetings with different groups every month. Like they have to go to like whatever the Chamber of Commerce, any builders associations, just getting out there and meeting those people. That's going to be your biggest thing. It's going to get you in those accounts a lot easier. You can put stuff on your website too, saying that you do commercial work because people will be searching for it. But if you don't have a web page dedicated to commercial stuff, they may not find you. So definitely have it on your website if you are going to do that. But the
Yeah.
biggest thing we
Yeah.
found in our business just networking. That was
Yeah.
huge.
Boots on the ground, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes. You want to get into commercial work, start knocking on doors and walking into businesses, and it's really a simple question. You just walk in and say, "Hey, I'd like to give you guys a quote for your lawn care.
Yep.
What's your manager's phone number?" They'll write it down and give it to you.
Yep.
Another good one is if you're in residential right now and you're trying to get in commercial, talk to your residential clients. Send out an email or a mass text message, okay? Because I have two regular landscaping clients that started off with residential. So I guess I lied. Snow removal I do commercial, obviously. But one of my best clients this winter was just a longtime landscaping client that he didn't realize that I did. I was going to do snow removal or lawn care. And yeah, he hired us on the spot. So, talk to your current clients and let them know. That's a big one too.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear what everybody else is doing as far as marketing, how you're reaching out to commercial accounts. Put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. Love to share it with everybody. That's what everybody's here for. So
Yeah.
that's why we have the Landscape Business Owners Facebook group. It's to share information. So definitely reach out, share it. If you're on YouTube, put it in the comments section. We'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. So, what are you doing to keep your sanity right now, Scott? Obviously, it's snowing.
Yeah, it's a little crazy right now. Just being prepared is the biggest thing. That was our biggest thing, is having everything ready to go. Um, we since this is going to be a big storm, we try to split up some of the crews. We'll have a couple guys that don't come in as early, and they'll come out like salt a little bit later.
Yeah.
So we kind of break things up a little bit. And then we do a lot of hotels in our area and motels. So those, you would go in and we open them up first thing. They got to be open, ready to go by 7 o'clock in the morning. And then most people are gone by 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So then we have to go back and clean everything up after that. So a lot of times we'll go snowplow, get everything done. Everybody kind of goes, eats breakfast, chills out for a little bit. If something's broke, we'll try to go fix it real quick and then go back out afterwards. Or if we have the crews that are split up, a couple of those guys will go stay and clean everything up.
Yeah.
one thing.
What about for people wrapping up? What about people for you know getting ramped up for the spring rush? What do you
Well,
think?
as
You
far
guys
as
hitting the marketing hard, or you just
yeah,
you got work lined up?
we have work lined up. Yeah, we're going to be doing more Facebook stuff this year than what we've ever have. We've honestly haven't done a whole lot of marketing. But my dad's a huge network. He's out there all the time. My dad like knows freaking everybody in there. Yeah. So, uh, like there's, we always had, we've had highs and lows, of course, with work. But if there got to a low point, my dad makes some phone calls and hey, we got this job, and
Yeah,
it always leads to other work. So we've never like, I couldn't even tell you out of the, I think we've been in this business for 33 years. I couldn't tell you a point where we've never had work. Maybe early on that I can't recall right now, but we've always stayed busy. So it's always good. It's always good. And like I said, my dad knows everybody, so that's what
yeah,
built our business is mainly networking. So
yeah, yeah. What do you suggest for the person watching this right now that doesn't have any work lined up and wants to hire employees and really hit the ground running?
well, if you're don't have any or if you don't have any work, I wouldn't hire anybody quite yet. But I would definitely get out there and start joining groups and networking and start talking to people. If you can't get out and do any work right now, you can start going around knocking on doors and start handing out flyers. Do just simple things like that. Easiest thing to do to get started. Um, and then when you start doing a job, go around the next 5 houses that you're around there, and just don't go in there selling. Just say, hey, we're going to be doing work down the road here. If there anything blows in your yard, anything guys block your driveway, whatever it is, let me know. Here's my card. Call me anytime. We'll get it taken care of right away. And that's a good way to. You're not selling, but they're. It makes you look good in front of them. So in their eyes, that you care about their neighborhood, you care about the community. So that's a good one to get out there. And start out small. Like even if it's just trimming some trees, blown out gutters, whatever, pressure washing. There's plenty of work to be found out there. You just have to go look for it and to get
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
Um,
I remember very distinctly going to my parents' house and using their computer and Word document to actually make a flyer, and I took up all their ink. I printed off maybe 75, and my dad was pissed, right? But and I took him and I went to the best neighborhoods I could find, just the biggest houses, and I walked door to door, and I'm like, can I pull your weeds, or you need any light landscaping done, or you need anything, any shrubs trimmed or things like that. And I think I walked away that Saturday with, oh shit, 2 months worth of work at least.
yeah.
It was all underpriced. It was so underpriced. And I didn't realize I booked like that much work until everybody started calling me the next Monday, and they're like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't do anything for like scheduling, right?" But no, it was definitely boots on the ground. We walked door to door, and like you said, another big one is calling up old clients.
Yeah.
I'd even call them up. So anybody that you did work for last year, call them up right now. Say, hey, just trying to get people on the schedule for mulching or weed pulling. Yeah, you could generally walk away with a job or two there. And then honestly too, in downtime, I think, I'm just gonna keep repeating this, but knowing your numbers and systems and procedures are probably the best thing you could be working on
That's
constantly. But
in the academy. There's a lot of guys right now, and I should say guys and girls, doing doing their numbers right now. They're creating their budgets, getting everything set up so they can create all their pricing for next year. That way, it's done. It's ready to go. Come March, April, whatever your season is, you can start throwing out those estimates. So you're going to be
yep.
pretty spot on with everything. Yeah, there's always going to be tweaks and everything, but
I am. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for suppliers to get back to me on pricing.
Yeah.
So they're all doing their pricing right now too. So being able to plug everything into the estimating system was I want to make sure it's up to snuff before.
So
get going. But
you got a pretty intensive estimating system there. That's awesome what you've done with your stuff, your Excel sheet.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the nice thing is you guys have been so great with customizing it all. I obviously you worked your butts off to create this whole sheet for estimating and stuff, and then I get my hands on it and start like changing it up and like deleting things, and then like I email it to you. I'm like, well, what do you think about this? And you're like, well, what? You didn't
Awesome.
not even once did you say, well, what was wrong with it the first time? But it just kind of goes to show how every company is different on how we do things. So I know when I first joined the academy, it was a big thing of talking point of either lumping everything together on your quote or doing it in line items. Which when I say line items, I don't break up like materials and labor for things. But if I'm giving somebody a quote for a full landscape, I will break it down into this is how much it's going to cost for sprinklers. This is how much it's going to cost for grading and sod. This is how much it's going to cost for your patio, and things like that. And I think like when I do my breakdowns for like my patio, I'll include approximately how much road base or how much gravel and how much stone I'm actually going to use. Okay, so when they do get another quote from somebody and it's $4,000 less, and they ask them like, okay, well, how much road base are you going to bring in? And they're like, oh, road base. What are you talking about, road base? And then they're going to know like, okay, obviously he doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy's quote is more, but we're going to go with him because he's obviously more educated on the subject, right? Which I'm a big believer in. But yeah, I know I took the estimate machine, broke it up into different pages for everything just for that purpose, and have all the estimated hours on top of everything. Because even when I'm creating a quote, I'll go down like it's like even for the patio, I'll break it down to, okay, this is the estimated hours for the demo. This is the estimated hours for the fabric. This is the estimated hours for the base. This is the estimated hours to actually install the stone, and so on. But it's been super simple for me to be able to gauge all these things when you break it down into bite-sized chunks. And it kind of really helps you figure it out, because when you get to the end of the day and you're like, okay, well, I have 8 hours to account for per day, right? So, if this takes 6 hours and this takes 3 hours, when you break it down like that, you're like, okay, it's obviously going to take more than 1 day, right? So, but before, when I was trying to lump it all in, I'm like, oh yeah, I could squeeze that in a day. It's easy. It helps break it down for me in my head.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's been, I don't know, we've been profitable with it. So no issues there, man.
That's the whole point of having that system where you can see your numbers and not only your pricing, but how much time you're going to take. And I sold a job on the time because I knew how long our job was going to take. It was just a sidewalk, brick sidewalk. And the customer came to me. After I met with the customer, like, well, you're a few $1,000s higher, or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was. And I'm like, okay. So I try to find out, make sure we're comparing apples to apples on everything. I'm like, by chance, how long did they say they're going to do the job? How long did it take to do the job? I don't remember exactly, but they're like, it'll be done in like in a day. I'm like, really? I'm like, ours is going to take us 3 days to do this whole project. I'm like, to dig it down properly and do all this, compact it, every couple inches and do everything. This is how long it's going to take, based on our estimating system of doing this for so long. I ended up getting the job because they started seeing, well, okay, it's going to take your crew this much longer, then that's why you're more expensive.
Yeah. All you're doing is educating the client. Yep. I mean, that's all you're doing, and they like it. So some people like it. Most of my clients do. A lot of my clients, though, they just trust us, I guess. I'll start like getting into schematics of things, and they're like, dude, I don't care, just do it. Yeah. Like, just get it done, right? Like, you're here, that's what matters. But I've also been able to create, I created a new bonus system this year that's per job. So if I estimate, 30 hours for a job and they come in at 27, then those extra hours are actually what get broken up into the job bonus.
Nice.
So then that way, my team gets rewarded if they get in there and get things done, and I trust my estimating system enough to have those buffers. Because I'm always going to overestimate. Always. I'm never going to say, okay, 1 yard of mulch, it's going to take 1 hour. That's ludicrous because you have to drive there, and if something goes wrong, I've been in it long enough to know that something's going to go wrong, right? The wheelbarrow's going to get a flat tire or something else. So, bid out your hours, make sure you have a good buffer on there. But my team likes it really well too, because then when I actually input everything on Jobber, for the job, I list everything out. It's like I'll either go day by day or start with the list of top to bottom of what we're going to be doing. But at the top of that list, I'll put down estimated hours 30. So they know straight from the start. They're like, okay, we have 30 hours to get this done. And they keep track of it because they want to get paid more. Yeah. So that allows me as well too to, I'm not going to pay somebody $24 an hour just right off the bat. I'd rather pay somebody $20 an hour and say, hey, look, you can make this much extra, through the bonus to get things done. Yeah. Right? Kind of an incentive program to do these things, which I calculate up everybody's hourly wage at the max of what they can actually make in that position. And some guys will get after me for this, but so like my crew laborer, they start at 15 and they can make upwards to 19? They can make up to $19 an hour. Anything after $19 an hour for like an hourly wage, they have to be put into a crew lead position, and they can make up to 23. Okay. So while I start a guy and I pay him 15, I'm going to charge my client like he's making 19. And it covers that. And it's one of those things like if they come at me in the middle of the year and they're like, oh, give me a raise. I mean, if they deserve it, then, or, if they say I'm going to go somewhere else, I hate ultimatums, and I probably wouldn't do it, but I have that option to do it. Yeah. You got to be able to pay more. Either that or that money gets set aside for parties or bonuses, end of year bonuses, things like that.
I like that idea where you're paying them based on their time. That's a huge thing. And, if you're not making a profit, they can't make a profit. That's, a lot of people give bonuses to their people, which I fully agree with. But if you the owner are not making a bonus or not making a profit, how can you give your guys a bonus? Yes, you want to keep them around, but if you're going broke on the back end, you're not going to be able to continue to paying those guys. So you have to know your numbers. You have to make sure you're making a profit before you give them a bonus. So I like that, that system you have. That's a good idea. Yeah. Do you mind me asking, is it kind of time consuming, you think, to do all that, to make, keep all your hours, but since you're already job costing, it should be pretty straightforward?
No, so first off, it's 2021. You should be having some kind of app based time clock. I don't know. I had the punch in clock or people writing stuff down. Like if you're really small and you're like on the job and stuff, I think you can write stuff down. Like you should be keeping track of that stuff anyway. Is very important. But everybody on my team, they clock into Jobber, they clock out of Jobber, they clock into the job, they clock out of the job, and I'm able to modify and see everything happening in real time in my office. So I'm able to do that. So if I build the job on Jobber, they're able to clock in and out of it. And so at the end of the job, I have a very accurate, look at what they actually spent on the job.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's so important. I actually kind of want to circle back a little bit to, you mentioned doing your jobs like line item or, giving people out. I really like how you break up how you give a customer a quote, where you give them like sections at a time. I'm not a fan of either giving them, this much rock, this much stone, breaking it down. I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather give them a lump sum, and they could pick if they want the patio in the back or they want the water feature in the front or whatever it is. I don't like to give them just every individual thing, because to me, they start to question, do they need all this rock? Do they need all this stuff? Well, yeah, it's
Hmm.
a part of the whole thing, but they don't understand that. They don't know that. And I've never been a fan of breaking things down. And I've turned down jobs because people, ask for that. And I'm sorry, we don't do that. I'll give you, if we want to take something out, you need to lower your price. Let me know. We can remove a tree, we can move some shrubs, whatever it is, change the
Yeah.
brick, get a different brick. But I won't break things down. So that's my
Yeah.
thought. I know, I'm sure I'll get some crap on that, but that's just my thoughts, and it's worked
Yeah.
well for us for 30 some years. So
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing was just built off of necessity. So I was handing out, I found my numbers and I started charging more, but then people were calling me and saying, "No, you're like $6,000 more than the other guy." I'm like, how? I'm like, that's absolutely insane. And then, I drive by and I realized that they weren't digging out the parking strip. They were basically cutting the sod and laying down fabric and putting gravel on top of it. So they weren't digging it out like the 3 to 4 inches. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there trying to think to myself, like, okay, well, how do I convey my quality that we pride ourselves on into these quotes without like going overboard? And so that's kind of where, it's really a thing of just building in the approximations of how much of each item we were actually going to use and kind of typing it up. And I mean, I suppose we'll figure out if it's scalable or not, because that's a whole nother topic too, is if what's easiest to scale on everything. As well as like who are you hiring to talk to everybody, as far as a salesman goes and stuff like that. Because I think that's probably another benefit too of, for me, is I'm actually speaking to all my clients during the sales process, and I'm able to explain things. I haven't yet had the opportunity to test it on, a team member going and doing that. So I don't know as far as like scalability how it goes, but I mean we've had really good luck with it, and it's kind of like you said about the estimating sheet. I've kind of broken it all up to really fit into that, into that concept
yeah,
of breaking everything down.
yeah, no,
But,
that works. It's nice. It is a little harder when you start adding a salesperson in there,
mhm.
to make sure all the information they put in, everything gets shared to the team. But where you have some kind of system that makes a work order of some sort that tells the team exactly what's got to be in there is a huge thing. In our business, we had our salespeople go out there at the beginning of the job, if they could, at the very first day of the job, take the crew leader out there, show them what everything had to get done, meet the customer, and then the job's kind of handed over to the crew leader at that time. And then every once in a while the salesperson was required to go back and make sure everything's going fine and talk to the customer. Um, but the key thing we found was making sure that all the information was passed from that salesperson to the crew leader in some way, and that like work orders is what helped us, because we had where the salesperson would sell them on something and never tell them one thing but never tell the crew leader, and it never happened, and the customer's upset because they didn't. This is supposed to be done. Your salesperson told us this. Like, well,
Yeah, because they get done right.
yeah.
We
So
use we use WhatsApp for that. So WhatsApp is what we actually use to communicate. So um, everybody's included in the specific group chat, and so if I get a text from a client, that's where I relate that info to. Um, or if there's any questions about the job, they're able to FaceTime me at the job and go over everything, or they can take pictures and send it to me. Or if they need parts, that's where they actually put in the parts for things. And so then that goes to 5 different people, so that everybody's actually able to see it and be on the same page. And then my thoughts with that is, as I scale and add on another crew, there's going to be one for each crew. Um, it gets at least maybe one person that's in the mix. Crew leads will probably be included in both,
yeah,
just to get as many minds on it as possible. So then when they get back to the shop, when they plan their next day, they can sit down and figure it out.
yeah, no, makes sense. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, before we wrap things up, if anybody has any questions, please put them in the comments. It's been pretty quiet today, so
Yeah, it's been super quiet. I don't know why, but
that's all right. It's a Sunday.
everybody's out eating dinner, right?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
Doing something else, but
I appreciate
yeah,
you taking the time to be on here today, Alec. Anything else you want to
yeah.
add?
No,
Okay.
nothing, man. Pretty mellow. So, yeah, I do actually. Know your numbers. Okay, just figure out your numbers and systems and procedures and numbers, and know your numbers and learn what overhead is.
Yeah. Well, I will say this real quick too. If you're new to the Landscape Business Owners Facebook group, springtime's come around, you're going to start doing your estimates. Please don't put in the question, what should I charge for this inside this group? Yes, we're here to help you, but unless you give us all the information on that project, we can't give you a good answer. There's so many variables to everything, and it's one of those questions that it pokes people the wrong way in this group. So, without relaying all the information, and there's an announcement somewhere in the Facebook group. It should be at the top of the page. It tells you all the information we ask. Where you're from, and all the variables to the job. So if you're going to ask that question, please give us everything. We can't answer the question properly without all that information. So it's not that we don't want to; it's just we can't.
No, it's hard. And then also too, if you see a question like that, please report it, because that's the only way we see it.
Yep.
And then also too, if you see a question like that, like, don't be a dick. Like like just stay off of it, man. It's easy to scroll. I used to be so combative with things constantly all the time, man, and it's exhausting. I know it's exhausting. Like, just stop and just scroll on. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Just report it, and then we can tag it and remove it and write them a message about why. We don't do that. I don't think we get so many that's unrealistic. But I mean, like, don't post them, obviously, in the first place. Like figure it out. But if you do see somebody post it, just report it. Don't comment on it.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to comment on it, just be nice, be kind.
So one other thing I do want to add, I don't know if you see the notifications, because Alex on moderator inside the Facebook group, but I get notifications that Facebook has taken down comments. Just they automatically do it. I have no control over it. And one was like, I can see what the comment was. One of them was like, it wasn't anything bad. Like, they quoted, what movie was it? Home Alone. Like, you filthy animal, something like that. And they quoted that, and Facebook took it down. So if it got taken down, we have no control over some of that stuff. That's just from Facebook. So I apologize if it gets taken down. Please don't message me. I can't control all that stuff.
There's a bunch of robots going through computers looking at comments. They're writing algorithms, and that's they just take it down sometimes. It's not. Again, there's no reason to hop on and rant about it or anything. It's not our fault. It's Facebook. You can't yell about it. It's just leave it alone. Yeah,
we get comments all the time. And there's something else somebody emailed or messaged me the other day, that they thought that we are letting marketers in this group, and they're getting contacted. We keep the marketers down to a minimum. We try not to let anybody in. Yes, they may slip by. I don't know. There's like a little over 11,000 people in here. We do our best to go through. Me and my sister-in-law, we literally go through every person that comes into the academy, or not the academy, into the Facebook group, and we check to see if they're like a landscape business owner. We look at their Facebook page. We do our best. We try to look at their website. We do our best to try to keep people out. So if you're getting hit up on Facebook Messenger by a marketer, probably not from us. I can't say for sure, but we try not to let those people in the group. So
probably not. And if you do, let us know immediately.
Yeah, and we'll get.
I'll take them out. I don't like it. Yeah.
So
not a huge fan of it. Like I said, yeah.
We have a few people in here, But
Yeah, the people that we do allow in the group are really respectful about it, and they're giving information, and they allow you to contact them if you want anything.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody's out there give me, and I hope they aren't. If they are, let us know. But I don't think they are. So.
All right, Alec. Well, I appreciate you
All
taking
right,
the time today. Have a good night.
Yep.
We'll talk to you
Yep,
soon.
you too, man. Oh,
Hey, guys.
one more.
Yep.
If you do need help with your numbers, go to milliondollarlandscaper.com and you can click the join button and you can hop on. I think it's 30-day money back guarantee, right?
Yep.
Is it? Yep.
That's a 14-day trial too.
Okay. I'm there. You can hop on and you can come hop on and join us on the next live Q&A. I'll be there. Everybody else will be there, and we'll talk about the success we've had. So
There you go. Thanks, Alec. All
right, man. Have a good one.
Good night.
See you, everybody.